competitive world, average won't cut it. The Success Launch Point shows you how to stand out, deliver massive value, and rise above the crowd. With on-demand courses, expert coaching, and a community focused on growth, you'll accelerate your career and your paycheck. It's time to level up. Check out modernobserver.com/launchpoint.
Amazon Web Services crashes. Earnings season ramps up. Good news about peanut allergies and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. A massive Amazon Web Services outage Monday disrupted banks, airlines, gaming networks, and smart home devices worldwide, affecting thousands of companies. The failure knocked major platforms offline, including Snapchat, Fortnite, Venmo, Reddit, and Ring, along with Amazon's own Alexa and shopping sites. The problem was traced to a failure in AWS's network monitoring system and DNS functions at its Virginia data hub, part of a global cloud network used by thousands of companies. Most services have since come back online, though some users are still seeing slow connections and login errors. The outage lasted several hours and caused widespread interruptions across the United States and beyond. The United States and Australia made a rare earths deal to counter China, with China clamping down on the export of rare earth minerals needed to make electronics amid the trade war. President Trump and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese signed an agreement which the White House describes as a framework with plans for projects worth up to $8.5 billion combined. It calls for each country to invest $1 billion in some of those projects within the next 6 months. But China still dominates, currently controlling 70% of rare earths mining and 90% of the processing. And access to them will likely be a big part of the discussion when Trump meets with China's Xi Jinping next week. A federal appeals court on Monday said President Trump may deploy the National Guard across Oregon for now, a boon to his efforts to send troops into several Democratic-led cities. The 2-1 ruling from a 3-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit lifts a lower court order halting Trump's deployment of National Guard members while the administration's appeal is resolved. The court previously let Trump resume control of Oregon's National Guard. Adam Smith, the top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, called for a hearing to challenge the legality of U.S. military strikes on boats in the Caribbean. President Trump and his administration continue to fail to answer pressing questions regarding the president's orders to carry out lethal U.S. military strikes on boats in the Caribbean Sea, Representative Smith said in a statement. The military strikes in question are directed at drug cartels who have been linked to terrorist groups, attempting to flood the United States with illegal drugs and funnel the money to terrorist groups. Earnings season is underway on Wall Street. Yesterday was a great day for Apple investors. Shares rallied to an all-time high after a report from technology research firm Counterpoint showed iPhone 17 sales were off to a good start in the U.S. and China. Apple's jump helped juice the broader market, with the 3 major indexes all gaining more than 1%. General Motors blew past analysts' consensus expectations for both earnings per share and revenue in the third quarter. The automaker also lifted its full-year guidance and said the impact from tariffs would be lower than previously forecast. Shares surged 8.5% in pre-market trading on Tuesday. Coca-Cola also beat Wall Street's forecasts for both lines for the third quarter, sending shares up nearly 2% before the opening bell on Tuesday. However, the soda maker said demand for beverages remained soft. Updated medical guidelines that recommend feeding peanuts to children when they're young has significantly reduced potentially life-threatening peanut allergies. A new study published yesterday in the journal Pediatrics found approximately 60,000 kids were spared developing a peanut allergy since guidance was issued in 2015, telling parents to introduce the food to babies as young as 4 months. Doctors had previously advised against giving peanuts to children before they turned 3 years old, which actually caused the upswing in peanut allergies. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.